Yo, what's up? Welcome back. Today I'll be reacting to another BTS documentary. This one is called Introduction to BTS by XCELESTE or Celeste. Shout out to her because I reacted to a previous documentary of hers and she knocked it out of the park with that. So I'm always grateful to have the chance to familiarize myself with BTS, the message that they're putting out, the opportunity to interact with y'all. That's one of the things that honestly I look forward to on a day-to-day basis, just responding to comments, liking comments, and learning more about the things that y'all believe in, the values that you have, because at the end of the day, that's what really matters, right? We oftentimes have a tendency in society, especially in the West, to fetishize, glorify, and obsess over celebrities. That's a real thing. But nevertheless, the impact that these artists have on our lives, the ways in which they allow us to turn inward and use their music to do more self-reflecting, and think about where we fit into the world and into the grand scheme of things, cannot be overstated. In that regard, groups like BTS are absolutely essential. Anyways, I'll get off of my philosophical rant and jump straight into the documentary.
How many of you have heard of BTS?
Well, now I have.
Who is BTS and why are they so popular? BTS is a 7-member group from South Korea. While the words boy band are often associated with the image of screaming teen girls, that is far from reality. First, there's nothing wrong with being a young person showing love for something you enjoy.
Absolutely.
But what if I told you about 24% are in their 20s, 28% are in their 30s, and 21% are in their 40s?
This is such a staggering statistic to me because this is not normal. They are different. And if I could get y'all to theorize with me as to why the distribution of their fan base seems to be even across age demographics, I would really appreciate it, because I have no other explanation besides this idea that their music and that the message within their music transcends age. But that's a very general statement to make. So why do you think their music appeals to people from every age demographic besides 50 and over? Even though I know there are a few of y'all in the comments that are 50 and over, and that's a beautiful thing, God bless you. But I'm just curious, like, why do you think that is? Because I'll tell you what, other groups aren't. Most of their fan base is between like teenagers and 30, and there's a steep cutoff after that.
Take a closer look at this age and gender demographic for BTS's 2020 Map of the Soul ticket sales. Females ages 25 and up made 46% of web traffic, and 31% were males. BTS's fans, named ARMY, will often tell you BTS is not your typical boy band. And why? To get a better understanding, let us go back to...
I don't even like the term boy band, especially as it pertains to Asian men, because historically, at least in this country, in the US, there's this stereotype that essentially emasculates Asian men and projects them as boys, and I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's right. I don't think it is cute or funny or appropriate to infantilize a group of individuals.
The beginning. BTS was created by Big Hit Entertainment.
You tell me, do you refer to them as a boy band?
Whose mission statement is music and artist for healing. The company, and namely their CEO, Bang Si-hyuk, wanted BTS to be sincere and genuine figures that people could easily relate to and grow with. Not immaculate idols groomed amid studio culture, but real boys who shared their authentic personalities and talents with the world.
So he refers to them as boys even though he's Asian. So I'm curious because, again, I only have a few cultural actually I have one, like, culture, the American one, but y'all let me know. So that's not necessarily derogatory, like, depending on the culture. Okay. And I guess a lot of it comes down to preference as well. Like some people, I don't know. I studied race for a long time, so I tend to read into things, you know, and apply my academic / theoretical knowledge to shit that really doesn't need a whole lot of analysis. Maybe I'm reading into
Which
it.
is why BTS stands for 방탄소년단. Korean for
방탄소년단.
Bulletproof Boy Scouts.
Oh.
방탄 meaning to
Okay,
be
so they own it.
resistant
They
to
embrace
bullets. So it means to block out stereotypes, criticisms, and expectations that are aimed at adolescents like bullets.
That makes
To
sense.
preserve the value and ideals of today's adolescents.
Especially because they started off as boys. They started off in middle school doing this. Okay, all right, things are starting to make
In
sense.
2017, BTS rebranded their name and logo representing their growth and maturity, extending the meaning to beyond the scene. The new door-inspired logo symbolizes youth who don't settle for their current reality
I love that.
and
I love that.
instead open the door and go forward to achieve growth. BTS debuted on June 12, 2013 with 7 members.
Wow.
RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope.
Hold on, let me go back to this quote real quick because I have a very similar philosophy. Symbolizes youth who don't settle for their current reality and instead open the door and go forward to achieve growth. Man, there's so much to break down there, but wow, that kind of embodies or is symbolic of what this channel tries to do, which is help you realize that we don't have to accept the world in its current state and that we can change it through perseverance, through sacrifice, through a commitment to those at the bottom of the social totem pole. We can make Earth resemble what heaven looks like if you are a person of faith. And if you're not, the message still applies. We can create heaven on earth. I'm absolutely sure of that. But it takes sacrifice, perseverance, a willingness to speak out against injustice and inequality that plague society. And I don't think we can achieve growth until we come to that realization that we don't have to accept shit in its current form. Student loan debt, outrageous housing prices, economic inequality where those at the top make 10 times more than those at the bottom. These are things that we don't have to accept. And there are steps that we can take in our own individual lives, whether it's at school or at the workplace or within our friend groups, to lessen that inequality. Let this society take advantage of you. Don't let this society force you to conform wherever you are in the world. Because we all come from revolutionary traditions. There are revolutionaries in India, there are revolutionaries in America, there are revolutionaries in Brazil who have made sacrifices in order to bring us to a better place. And if you want to walk in that tradition, then don't be afraid. BTS has set a perfect model for that through their activism, through their philanthropy. And of course, I have my critiques of philanthropy, but that's for another video.
For their current reality and instead open the door and go forward to achieve growth. BTS debuted on June 12, 2013 with 7 members. RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. All 7 members came from different parts of Korea. So at first, living together in a small apartment was a challenge. Their CEO, Bang Si-hyuk, created a method for the boys whenever they got into an argument.
일단 싸워도 된다. 싸움을 두려워하기 때문에 우리 갈등이 커지는 거다라고 가리키고요. 그 다음에 마지막으로는 단 해결은 7이 같이 하는 거다. 싸움은 둘이 해도 해결은 7명이 같이 해라. 하기 너무 창피한 걸로 싸움을 해도 결국은 같이 와서 저희가 이런 문제를 갖고 둘이 싸웠는데 이렇게 해서 이렇게 해결했습니다 라고 얘기를 하고, 그런 부분들이 이 팀의 친화력을 혹은 시너지를 강하게 만들고 있지 않나 이렇게.
I think he's right. Being able to work through conflict, healthy conflict, being able to work through healthy conflict by communicating, by being able to empathize with another person and see their side, even if you don't necessarily agree. and making a concerted effort to reach some sort of compromise is absolutely crucial if you want to grow in this world, if you want to learn in this world. But that involves deep self-reflection. That involves you being able to attack your own insecurities, your own fears, your own prejudices, your own preconceptions about the world, which a lot of people don't want to do. A lot of people feel uncomfortable engaging in that kind of self-reflection because they don't know how to do it without engaging in self-hatred. You see, there's a difference between reflection and self-hatred. You don't want to fall into the category where you're looking at all of your flaws and insecurities and fears and analyzing them through an emotional lens, because if you do that, then you're just gonna think you're the biggest piece of shit on earth. You want to do it methodically. You want to do it scientifically. You want to do it the way that a psychologist would look at the way you are wired. You know what I'm saying? You want to say, okay, there are certain things that I do that, and certain things that I say, in certain ways that I treat people that are incongruent with who I want to be, right? There's who I am and who I want to be. Sometimes there's overlap between those two identities, and sometimes they are completely divergent, right? So we feel this internal contradiction that we are not who we want to be. Now, we're not going to get to who we want to be if we are constantly ignoring ourselves and not engaging in introspection and reflection. And we're not going to be who we want to be if we're constantly dogging ourselves out and telling ourselves we're not good enough, telling ourselves that we make too many mistakes. So yin and yang, right? You want to be able to strike that balance in life.
Over the years, the boys have come to love each other. And you want to be open to
criticism, man. And I'll let the video play, but you also want to be open to criticism. Criticism that is fair. And fair criticism typically comes from those who don't know you at all, people who don't necessarily have skin in the game, or those who know you very well and are committed to your growth and your success as a human being. Not as a worker, not as a student, but as a human being. See what I'm saying? There's a difference. But you want to be open to critiques. We live in a society, we live in a culture where I got to be right about everything. You know, this society lacks a lot of intellectual humility. And it's a sad thing, because those who lack intellectual humility and have a disposition to be selfish and self-centered go on to create a lot of damage in society. So you just want to make sure you're not one of them people. And I just want to make sure I'm not one of them people. So I find myself constantly checking myself, constantly. All right, am I doing this like solely for selfish reasons, or is there some reciprocity in the decisions that I'm making, where, yeah, I'm making a decision, say for instance, to do this YouTube thing. It's my hobby, it's my passion. Eventually I'm going to turn it into a full-time job. And I would like to be able to generate enough revenue on it in order to live a decent life. You know, I don't need much, but I need to pay my rent. I need to eat. If I want to go on vacation once a year or something like that, I'd like to do that. But who else benefits from that? So we got the selfish part out of the way. And now, how am I going to make sure that the value that I'm adding enhances the quality of life for my viewers, for my subscribers, for you all? And so that's why I do these polls. That's why I ask y'all questions like, what do you want me to react to next? That's why I respond to your comments and I leave little hearts on them when I read them, because we just can't afford to live in a selfish world anymore. It's caused too much chaos. It's wreaked too much havoc. We just have to be more caring for one another. We have to be more compassionate.
Despite their difference in personalities, to the point where they'd feel incomplete with one member missing. They became each other's strength and support and formed a brotherhood.
내 머릿속에는 이렇게 멤버들이 있어야 뭔가 자연스러워. 그러니까 뭔가
내 핸드폰이나 지갑처럼 없으면 불안한 그런 것들 있잖아.
생각나.
And that's a beautiful thing, and everybody wants to feel needed, and there's nothing wrong with that. Now, there is something wrong with dependency. You know, if you feel like your existence is dependent on another person being in or out of your life, then again, that's a moment where you need to reevaluate things, and you need to work on being more emotionally independent, financially independent, socially independent, because people will let you down. If there's anything that is true about people, is that they will let you down. You know, they will let you down. So you have to have certain buffers, certain protective mechanisms to deal with that once it happens. And you need to also understand that it's a part of life. People are going to come and go. You know, J. Cole has this song Born Sinner, which y'all told me that BTS covered. I'll get to that. But on Born Sinner, which they call Born Singer in their cover, the background vocals sing, "You were always where I needed you to be, whether you were there or not there." And that's something that I really identify with, because people in your life, like I said, they come and go, and you just have to enjoy the time you spend with them while you're with them, and understand that you don't own them, they don't own you, and that you should be free to come and go out of a relationship, come and go out of a friendship, come and go out of a professional space without any kind of fear, really, because that's just people. We come and go. Nothing is permanent.
못해. 없으면 안 될 사람들이긴 하죠. 왜냐면은 넘어져도 저 혼자 일어나는 게 아니라 그냥 같이 일어난 거니까.
좀 생각을 해보면 이런 7명이 어떻게 모였을까라는 생각이 들어요, 이제는. 네. 오래 지냈다고 해서 될 문제는 아니에요. 어떻게 보면은 운명인 것
We were
같아요.
destined to meet. Yeah, and I've said that in previous videos. It's not a coincidence that these guys found each other and that they have clicked in the way that they have. And my hope for you and my hope for myself is that we are able to create a team for ourselves. When I look at life, especially as it pertains to social dynamics and the way human beings interact with one another, I am looking for a team. I'm looking for the 1996, 1997 Chicago Bulls. So I got to have people around me who love me, who would risk anything for me, who would sacrifice anything for me, and whose main mission in my life is to build me up. Granted, it has to be the other way around as well, right? Because I can't expect something from another person that I myself can't give. So I have to filter people. You know, I have to screen people before they come into my life, and I have to be able to delineate the degree to which I want them to infiltrate my space. Because we know that there are people at school, right? Our classmates, there are people at work, our coworkers who, you know, we might be cool with them, but it's one of those things where it's like, all right, if I wasn't in this class, chances are I wouldn't be talking to you. Or if I wasn't at work, chances are we wouldn't be laughing and we wouldn't be like hanging out outside of work. So I think that's another truth that people need to come to grips with, which is that a job is a job. Nothing more, nothing less. A passion that you're able to generate revenue off of, that's something different. But a job is a job. They will use you, chew you up, and spit you out. And the minute, you know, you are no longer being as productive as they would like, they have no problem kicking you to the curb. And when they do, whether you leave or whether you're forced to quit or whether you are, you know, fired, let's say, all those people at your workplace, they're not going to band together to protect you. You know, they're just not. If you get an F in one of your classes, all of your classmates are not going to band together and go on strike and protest the professor that gave you an F in that class. They're just not. So you really want to create a team. You know, people who are down for you, people who have your back, and people whose back you also have. And I know that y'all have a deep connection with BTS, and a lot of y'all say, you know, we're protective of BTS, and that's cool and all, but I would just encourage y'all to find people you could protect in your personal lives if you don't have those people already, and find people who will protect you, because it's a cold world out there. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to say spread love, create bonds with people, create connections, deep, fulfilling relationships, but these things are hard to come across, and there's so many broken and damaged individuals out there that if you let them into your inner matrix, they will ruin your life. So you got to be careful for that. And that's why it's important to have people who will protect you, people who will say, ooh, I don't know about that relationship you're in right now. You might want to get out of that. You might want to get out of that because it seems like that person is hell bent on ruining you, and they might not even know it, but they just are. You know, we need that accountability.
되게 유치하지만 그냥 운명이었던 거예요, 이거는. 네.
Their climb to the top may seem sudden to those who didn't follow their journey, but it was far from a walk in the park. BTS's company, Big Hit Entertainment, started off small and faced numerous hardships, even coming close to bankruptcy. Since Big Hit wasn't a large company at that time, they lacked the resources for promoting BTS.
Wow.
Even getting the chance to debut was a fluke. Their debut performance opportunity came about because a music show needed a filler for someone else's spot. Even after they debuted, their performances would often get cut, and if they did make it on air, their screen time was very short since Big Hit didn't have the power or influence bigger companies had over broadcasts. Since they
But you see, they kept showing up. They kept showing up. And eventually, it paid off. And I want y'all to keep that in mind too. I don't know if I'm right about this, but I have this philosophy that we can only control 66% of our environment. 66%. 33% comes from showing up. The other 33% comes from putting forth effort. Whatever happens after that is out of your hands. But showing up and putting forth effort, even when you don't feel like putting forth effort. You know, there are times where I don't want to record videos. That's the last thing I want to do. Maybe I'm feeling down or depressed, or you know, just living in this apartment is really messing with my head because of all the noise outside and the paper thin windows, and like, you know, the floors are on a slanted surface, so my body is aching. I feel a little nauseous, and I don't want to record videos, but I got to do it because this is my dream. This is my passion. Sometimes you have to do the things that you hate to do, but do it like you love it in order to be great at it. And right now, I don't hate like making reaction videos, but I hate doing it in these conditions, which is why last time I told y'all, like, yo, hold off on joining my Patreon because I want to wait until I move into my new place, because the lighting will be better, everything. I just want to give y'all the best quality. Yeah.
Who are often not invited to a lot of big variety shows, the company found their own way to communicate with their audience through platforms such as YouTube. By vlogging their journey, they allowed us to discover their personalities. They also created their own variety shows and often live streamed with fans. They honed their crafts for hours on end, practicing in the dance studio and producing music, returning home at dawn to all sleep in one bedroom. 2 years of hard work and not knowing where they'd end up, they finally won their first music show award. Yet, as they grew in popularity, they were falsely accused of sajeki, which is when a company buys their own artist albums to boost sales for the charts.
And they do that all the time. I'm not saying Big Hit did this, but these companies, you'd be surprised. They do this shit all the time.
Couldn't believe a group from a small company was selling well, ignoring the fact that a small company wouldn't have the resources to pull off such a scam.
Right.
These were just a few of their hardships and struggles. I created a separate video highlighting their past hardships. I'll link that in my description box.
I don't think I watched this one. I watched the other one.
Throughout the years, BTS were able to reach impressive milestones while continuing to sing in Korean. They shattered cultural language barriers with music and attracted an international audience. They grew organically by staying true to themselves while building a genuine connection with their fans from around the world. During an era where streaming numbers have gone up and traditional album sales have gone down, BTS has become an industry anomaly. Their latest album, Map of the Soul 7, released February 21, 2020, is the best-selling physical album of the year, and they sold over 500,000 copies in just the United States alone. The biggest kicker? Well, BTS did this without a single bundle.
What is a bundle?
And what does bundle mean?
Yeah.
Artists would bundle merchandise or concert tickets with the album's sales.
That
For
shit don't
example, a copy of an artist's album, digital
that?
or physical, would be included in every t-shirt sale or ticket sold for
I love how Celeste, like, she throws shade on like different artists, but not really, because she blurs it out, but she only blurs it out to the extent that, you know, the algorithm, and they don't sue her. I love that. Who is this person right here? Who's
their
that
concert.
album cover?
These sales would count towards charting numbers and become an industry-wide tactic in the US to help boost sales figures and, in effect, climb up the Billboard charts.
That shit is cheating.
In a 2019 New York Times article, they said about half the 39 titles that topped the charts last year were sold as part of ticket or merchandise bundles. Without the help of bundles and driven by the power of ARMYs alone, BTS were able to beat a lot of historic records, such as Michael Jackson's 36-year record and the Beatles' 22-year record. While these musical acts are famous
But they deserve
around
it though, because they put in the work.
the world, Suga has said it's a great honor to be called the Beatles of the 21st century. At the same time, it's a bit pressuring to be called that. We are BTS.
That's right.
We want to be the BTS of the 21st century.
There will never be another Beatles, and there will never be another BTS. That's right.
The members themselves have always been involved in their music and engaged with their fans, even before they officially debuted. From their debut album, Too Cool for School, in 2013 to their most recent Map of the Soul 7, all 7 members have contributed as either writers and or producers on every album. All of BTS are associate members of the Korea Music Copyright Association, and as of August 2020, J-Hope, Suga, and RM were all promoted to full members of the association.
Wow.
They even create music that's released for free on SoundCloud as gifts to their fans.
I love that.
Much of their work touches on subjects like mental health, youth and female empowerment, child abuse, cyberbullying, self-love and development, and socioeconomic injustices. Much of their work is also inspired by past writers and thinkers.
Y'all talk to me about the economy in South Korea. Is there a lot of that, like there is in the United States? Like, I know there's always socioeconomic injustice anywhere, but tell me about the class divides, whichever country you're in. I'm always curious to learn more from y'all directly.
Their latest series, Map of the Soul, incorporates psychological concepts by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung.
I love that.
BTS is not afraid to use their platform to amplify underrepresented voices and issues, taking numerous risks with their career while receiving backlash from people in power. BTS
well, you're always
are
gonna
also
receive that, man. Whenever you're speaking out or speaking up for the poor and oppressed, you're always going to have forces that lie on you, that try to smear you and damage your reputation. But they never end up having the last word, because truth and goodness always wins. It always wins. Even if not in a material sense, it always wins in principle, because that's what truth and goodness is. That's what they are tied to, principles. Lies and corruption and smear campaigns, those are not tied to truth and goodness. Even when they are inflicted by fans of BTS. And I think we got to be honest that, you know, some of the fan base can be toxic, and I know y'all don't like to hear that, but that's something that folks got to work with internally. But I guess that can be said about every fan base, honestly. I think maybe I see it a little bit more amplified in a much more amplified way, because at this point, most of my subscribers are BTS fans. So sometimes I see comments in the comment section that concern me. Like, forget your old subscribers. Stop reacting to non-BTS videos. Nobody's going to watch those videos. Why are you still reacting to videos that aren't BTS? Make sure you don't react to any other K-pop artists, because K-pop is evil. And it's like, yo, are you ARMY? When are you gonna come out as ARMY? And it's like, leave me the fuck alone. Like, who are you? I ain't for that. No, I am Manny. I'm a fan of these guys. I'm a fan of their artwork. I'm a fan of their music. I'm a fan of their message, all that. But you're not finna back me into a corner. I'm not like these other YouTube personalities that you're gonna cancel me if I don't. No, I don't. Shit. No, I ain't scared of y'all. I ain't scared of you. No, I'm playing with you. But 90% of y'all, I say 95%, because it's always the vocal minority that you see. You tend to, like, when you see a comment from them, it's like, whoa. So it almost seems like most of the comments are like crazy like that, but they're not. So 95% of y'all are cool as hell. But that 5%, we got to do something about them. And you see how I'm using the term we? I don't know, I might be a ARMY. But yeah, if you're a fan of BTS, you got to call that shit out. Like, that toxic behavior, get out of here, man. Go into politics. If that's what you want, go tweet about politicians. Go make your profile picture of a dictator or a warlord or something like that. If that's what you're into, if you're just into toxicity and negativity, go do that. But don't, because you end up damaging the BTS brand if you're one of those fans. You know what I'm saying? If you're a toxic fan and you bringing out negativity and trying to be condescending, and why haven't you researched their birthdays yet? Like, yo, why are you being a psycho? You know? But I don't like to misuse labels like that, so I take that back. It's not up to me to diagnose whether or not somebody is suffering from psychopathy. So I take that one back, but the sentiment still remains.
They are talented. Throughout the years, members have been donating individually and as a group. BTS rarely publicize donations, so fans often find out about them if media organizations uncover the details. One of BTS's few public announcements was in November 2017 for their Love Myself campaign. They partnered with UNICEF to create a campaign aimed at protecting children and teenagers from around the world, with the hope of making the world a better place through music. BTS and their company, Big Hit Entertainment, pledged 500 million Korean won and donated 3% of the income from the sales of physical albums of the Love Yourself series, along with 6 other fundraising initiatives, including the Love Myself merchandise, where 100% of its proceeds were pledged to the cause. The Love Yourself series, which contained 3 albums total.
But we got to keep in mind, though, y'all, that these are, short-term solutions for long-term problems that have deep systemic roots that we have to attack directly. See what I'm saying? You're not gonna significantly decrease inequality and injustice through philanthropy and through donations. You got to do it by attacking those at the top. But oftentimes, for reasons that are understandable, folks are scared to do that, because, like I said, once you do that, you get a lot of backlash, you get a lot of attacks, you get a lot of people trying to ruin your life and take you down. So I like RM's approach to things, so I like his philosophy.
Over 7 million copies worldwide. On September 24, 2018, BTS was invited to deliver a speech about the Love Myself campaign at the United Nations General Assembly. On January 15, 2020, Formula E announced their partnership with BTS to help combat climate change. On June 3rd, 2020, BTS tweeted their support for Black Lives Matter. A few days
and that's risky. That's risky for them. Going back to what I said, sacrifices, being able to stand on what you believe. Very few people can do that. Very few people stand on what they believe in, man. And at that point, I have very low patience for people like that. I don't like to interact too much with people who don't have strong convictions and beliefs, because when shit hits the fan and we end up in a situation that calls on you to be who you say you are, and you end up caving, you end up conforming, yeah, that's just not something that I can respect. And that might put me in jeopardy because I'm on a whole nother wavelength right now, or at least I'm trying to be.
2020, BTS tweeted their support for Black Lives Matter. A few days later, Variety reported that BTS and Big Hit Entertainment had donated $1 million to support the Black Lives Matter movement. When armies got wind of the news, they matched their $1 million donation in one day.
See, and BTS didn't have to do that. They didn't have to do that. They didn't have to make that sacrifice. They could have been like, we don't know what the hell is going on over there. We just know about what's going on in South Korea, and we are going to pay attention to what's going on in our own country. Those people over there, they need to figure it out. But they didn't do that. You know, so they truly do have a global pledge to various social movements, which is beautiful.
Now, these are just a couple of their acts of charity. With their socially conscious music, BTS created a new fandom culture that brings together fans from different national and racial identities.
Yeah, that's true.
This led to the emergence of bilingual army volunteers who translated BTS Korean lyrics and videos in their language almost real time, making the content immediately available to non-Korean speakers. We may all speak different languages, but their music and their message connected people from around the world with different ethnicities, background, gender, and age. BTS has also expressed their love and respect for ARMY countless of times, such as always mentioning them first during speeches, responding to fans on their social media app Weverse, showing their appreciation for ARMY projects, halting rehearsals for the Muslim prayers in Saudi Arabia. The youngest member, Jungkook, even got the fandom name tattooed on his hand. Together with ARMY, they grew as individuals and as artists.
저는 굳이 영향력을 주는 거창한 것은 안 원하고 그냥 저희를 보는 분들이 행복하고 웃을 수 있다면
That's what it's all about.
팬이란 게 진짜 뭘까 막 이런 생각을 가끔 많이 하거든요. 결국 그 사람들 때문에 저희가 무대에 서는 거라서 그 봐주는 사람들을 위해서 노래를 하고 무대를 하는 거기 때문에 결국 그 사람들한테 진짜 감사해야 되고 무대 하나하나에 최선을 다해야 되고.
간단하게 얘기해서는 가수를 하고 있는 어떤 제일 중요한 이유인 것 같아요. 저는 뭐 방송 활동도 물론 쉽지 않지만 진짜 콘서트는 그냥 제가 이 방탄소년단을 하고 있는 이유가 맞는 것 같아요.
Have y'all ever been to one of them? To one of the concerts?
참 다행히도 내가 원래 하고 싶었던 이 메시지 하고 싶었던 음악들을 하고 있어서 참 다행이라고 생각을 해요. 그러기 때문에 되게 그렇게 살고 있는 것 같아요. 긍정적인 에너지를 주죠.
일단 이 일을 좋아하는 거, 이 일을 사랑하고 너무 좋아하는 게 저에게 큰 영향을 주는 것 같아요.
That's what it's all about, man. Loving what you you gotta love what you do. You gotta love what you do. And you're not always gonna love it, and there are gonna be times in your life, especially early on, where you gotta eat shit. You know, you gotta. We all gotta do it to a certain extent, but don't lie to yourself. Don't dilute yourself. You have to plan for a better existence than the one you are living right now, and you have to make sure that you don't make the mistake of living vicariously through someone who is pursuing their passion. And I think going back to stan culture, that's another flaw in its logic. is that a lot of fans see these celebrities pursuing their passions and living their dreams, and fans forget that they also have passions and that they also have dreams that they need to identify and pursue and execute. And so these celebrities end up functioning as a crutch in some way, or as an indirect achievement. You know, just by being a fan of BTS, I've already achieved independence and freedom, and I've already achieved my goals and my passions because I'm getting to see them live theirs. No, there's a difference between watching someone live their passion, which can be a very inspiring thing, and living it yourself. The one is purely theoretical, it takes place in the mind, and the other happens in reality. And I think when you're able to align the two, when you're able to appreciate the journey, the experiences, and the wisdom of your idols, your celebrities, and also appreciate the experience and journey that you're on, that's a beautiful combination. You know, you get to have your cake and eat it too. Yeah, I see Drake doing these things sometimes, and I'm like, damn, man, you living life. You're happy, man. Granted, I don't know behind closed doors. I'm sure he has his own, but he's chasing his dreams. And I want to be on that kind of time.
하기 싫고
If I didn't want to
실증이라고
be
하면은
in this line of
무대
work
위에서
and was sick and tired of it,
이 일을
it would be on
굉장히
stage.
사랑하기 때문에 내 무대 위에서도
It would show on
나타나기
stage.
때문에 이 일을 굉장히 사랑하기 때문에
It's because I
내가
really
무대
love my
위에서
job that I can go on
퍼포먼스를
stage
할
to
수 있고
perform.
노래를 할 수 있는 거예요.
계속 와서 응원해주는 모습, 그리고 그렇게 저희를 진심으로 좋아해주는 그런 표정들, 힘들 때 그런 표정들이 저에게 더 힘을 주는 것 같아서
여러분을 저희를 알아봐 주신 여러분들이라면 여러분의 꿈이 아니더라도 여러분의 삶, 여러분의 인생에 언젠가 저희의 존재가, 저희의 음악이, 저희의 무대가, 저희의 사진, 영상이 여러분한테 아주 조금이라도 아픔이 100이라면 그 100을 99, 98, 97로 만들어줄 수 있다면 그걸로 저희의 존재의 가치는 충분합니다. 정말 사랑합니다.
Their love for ARMY has also helped them decide on re-signing another 7-year contract with Big Hit Entertainment. They mentioned doing it for their fans and not for money. So, while people often discredit BTS's talent, likening their popularity to superficial aspects that come with the image of a boy band, it is their development of personalities and sincerity towards their art and their fans that made their fandom the size and reach that it has become.
I believe it.
I hope people will come to realize that BTS is more than just their singing and their dancing skills. They're not just performers, but artists who have healed and inspired millions of people around the world. For a deeper dive into BTS, please refer to these websites.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this reaction, please comment, like, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. And also let me know, like, where are you from? I'm curious. I know a lot of y'all are from the US. A lot of y'all are from South Korea. And also another thing, because I'd be remiss so as to not say this, but if there's anything that I said that came off as condescending or patronizing or preachy, well, that's kind of my goal here. I kind of want to preach a little bit, help us relate to one another, help us learn from one another. But if it came off as condescending or patronizing, that's not how I intended it to be at all. But I do have somewhat of a platform, and I have to use it responsibly and sensibly. And I have to use it to generate a positive change in the world like BTS. So that is my goal. Sometimes I fall short, sometimes I hit the mark, but that's life, right? I will see y'all next time. Peace.